Morning, my friends. Frank Bice here from the Cranwell Foundation. I saw my great friend, Coach Tom Sheehy, yesterday back here at Canterbury. He was up at the boys lacrosse game. Great to see you, Coach, and thank you for everything. I can't thank you enough, Coach. Today in the Gospel, it's the Feast of the Ascension of Jesus into heaven, 50 days after Easter. And Jesus gives the command to the disciples, go out and spread the good news to all the nations. Now, the apostles obviously took that command seriously. And in the Acts of the Apostles, Jesus says, you will be my witnesses throughout all the world. Now, the word witness in Greek means martyr. And if you take our understanding of the word witness, if someone witnesses something, they can attest to the truth. If they're called to be a witness in court, they can represent the truth. But the deeper true meaning means you're also going to be willing to die for what you believe in. And now, 2,000 years later, we're still reaping the benefits of those early witnesses. If you know me and you've heard these stories over and over again, after I got home from the hospital, the Miller brothers took me swimming. And I talked about going swimming in their grandmother's pool and out at the beach. But the true story of what happened at the beach that day was we had been out all night the night before. I was out of college after my second senior year and had my van. And I woke up in a parking lot lying on the floor between Obi and Rents, my two best friends from Canterbury. And we headed to the beach where we met the Miller brothers and a bunch of guys from Manhasset. And the red flags were blowing in the wind. And the waves were huge. And it was Obi and Eugene Miller who said, you're going in. And I said, fellas, I don't think this is a good idea. But they put my vest on me and carried me in. And then a riptide got a hold of me and brought me out a half mile. And then Eugene Miller ran out and grabbed me by the foot and saved my life. But the way I tell the story in a theological context is I say, at that point, if Jesus walked up to me, walking on the water and said, Frank, my son, your sins are forgiven, I probably would have said, oh, Jesus, thank God you're here. But do you think you can help me get back to the beach? Now, I tell that story in the context of the story in the Gospels where Jesus is teaching in a house and it's too crowded. And these men lower a paralyzed man in front of him. And Jesus says, my son, your sins are forgiven. And he gets a rise out of the religious leaders. And they all say, who are you to forgive sins? But a big part of the ministry of Jesus was healing sins. What was the point of that? Okay. The problem of evil is this. If God is all good and all powerful, how can suffering and death exist? One of the ways the Bible tries to explain it is by saying, in the context of the Bible, if the first Adam sinned and brought on suffering and death, the new Adam, Jesus, and St. Paul calls Jesus the new Adam, through his obedience, through his total surrender to the will of God, conquered death, the ultimate evil. And so he changes everything. He flips everything over. And so the point was, Jesus was trying to repair that great relationship that we were supposed to exist in between God and us. Now, those early apostles took the words of Jesus literally and went around the world spreading the good news. And 2,000 years later, we're still reaping the benefits of those early witnesses who were willing to sacrifice everything they had. And when I think about my own life, I received the gift of faith from my mom, went to St. Mary's, Cranwell, Canterbury, Siena, the seminary, Yale Divinity School, been able to teach theology at Canterbury, been heading out to Notre Dame, got 3 degrees in theology now. And with my injury and everything else, my whole life has basically been saved by those early witnesses and the faith that's been carried on for the centuries. And it's really given me a hope beyond anything else. My faith and the gift I've gotten from the church. You know, a year ago I talked about it was my own. I was in a down period and it was my own agony in the garden. Now, why did I go through that? Because I'm human and we all have our ups and downs. But the gift of those early witnesses is that they shared the gift of faith. And the gift of faith gives us the ability, after we go through our own personal agony in the garden, gives us the opportunity to dust ourselves off, get up, and get going again. And when we get to the other side, the miracles start exploding. And I'll tell you right now, I consider myself the luckiest person who's ever lived. And you got to trace it back to these early apostles. So today, let's follow this command by going out and spreading the good news. You know, St. Francis said, you know, you can spend your whole life preaching the gospel and when necessary, use words. You know, you might not be comfortable talking about your faith, and maybe you shouldn't. But maybe you can spread the faith by having a positive attitude, by being grateful, and looking for somebody to help. If you can help somebody out cheerfully, in a positive way, that might send a more powerful message than anything else. You know, we have a top soccer player here at Canterbury from Africa, and he's Muslim. And he's a good, faithful Muslim. And he got many scholarship offers for college. But he said he decided to go to Villanova because it's a Catholic school. Now that, to me, is spreading the good news and being faithful, because we provided a great environment for this young man, and he'll be a better Muslim, and thank God. So in our own way, let's go out and spread the good news and thank God for all the gifts he's given us. Okay, God bless you.